Atlassian is always introducing some pretty cool features. Most recently, they introduced a list view in Jira that I'm going to show you in just a few seconds. But what if I told you there's a better version of the list view that is way cheaper and way more customizable and just way better overall? If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel. Drop a like if you get value out of this video. And don't forget to check out the links down below, as you're definitely going to want to head on over to Visor and get started with them absolutely free. Let's jump into Jura first, and then we'll go over to Visor, who's sponsoring this video. Alright, so here I am inside of Jira, and unless you've been living under a rock, you may have noticed that the Jira software projects now have the Jira Work Management list view available in those Jira software projects. And this is a pretty cool view. We are able to see hierarchy, which previously was only in the timeline. And if you have something like your initiatives, you can see the initiative, you can see the epic, you can then see any stories, tasks, or bugs. And then of course, if you have the subtasks, you can see that as well. But the fun kind of stops there. There's a couple of other customizations you can do here, like you can sort by the field name, you can do a little grouping over here, you can share with licensed users, very critical, we'll talk about that in a minute, but you can share with licensed users, you can do a couple of very basic filters right here, and then you got a couple of view options over here. And the fun kind of stops there. That's literally it. You really can't customize or do a whole lot more beyond that, which kind of puts a damper on the whole thing because it's such a cool feature. But what if I told you there was a better version of this? So let's jump over to Visor, who has this thing called the table view. And it's basically this list view from Jira, but so much better. So let me show you. So over on Visor, you're definitely going to want to make your free account and then get started, import your Jira data. The whole process takes just a few minutes. And once you have everything in there, everything is bi-directionally synced. So any changes you make in Jira come to Visor, and anything in Visor goes back to Jira. So you never have to worry about your teams being out of sync. And before I even get too far into this video, I do want to let you know that Visor's billing and pricing is much different. Because we are not constrained to the Atlassian ecosystem and the Atlassian marketplace, you don't have to pay on a per user basis. So this view and all the things we're going to be talking about in this video makes so much sense when you have stakeholders in play, because you can very easily and intuitively and affordably be able to share your findings, your filters, your views, everything we're going to create in this video. We're able to share it with the right people without breaking the bank. So let's get started with some functionalities that I think you're really going to enjoy. So first off, this is the table view inside of Visor. Again, it looks just like our list view from Jira, and we have the same hierarchy here. So as you expand your epics and stories, you can see that there. As I scroll down, you're going to see that I have my initiative from that list view that we just looked at. We have that one epic that we just looked at, that one task, and that one subtask. So all that data we were just looking at moments ago in the list view over inside of Visor. Now, the fields, right? All that data we were just looking at from a fields perspective, it's all here too. And I can simply click on some of these buttons and we can sort. We can go top down, A through Z or Z through A, right? And as you can see, we can do a couple of other things. We can insert columns to the left, to the right. We can rename fields. We can do a bunch of other cool stuff, right? But that's not even the cool stuff that I want to show you with respect to their table view. The first thing I want to start off with is I want to show you Visor's filtering. So basically, if you have data inside of a field, like you can inside of Jira, you can do a whole lot of filtering with this, right? There's a couple of cool things that you could really do here that you just can't do inside of Jira. So over here on the middle left side, we have this filters option. And so you can create a filter for, like, let's just say you wanted to have a table view for just one specific assignee, or maybe you want to do it for one specific status. And so you simply click on like status here, and let's just say we want to see everything that is in to do. And so we select that. And now our table data is filtered in such a way that we just see the statuses of to do. Okay. But what makes this so much better is that we can actually click on this add view down here, and we can click on this and then just say to do items. And we can click on save. Notice that we have a bunch of different view types. We have the table view, which is what we're focusing on, but we also have a Gantt view, a dashboard view, a board view, and a timeline view. And if you watched my last video talking about Visor's UI, then you know how much I love the Gantt view. But today we're gonna be focusing on this table view. And so we're gonna proceed with this new table view that we just created. And once we're here, you'll notice that we're seeing everything. Well, that defeats the purpose of a to-do one, right? So we're going to go back to our filters and we're just simply going to apply that filter so that we bring everything that is in that to-do status. And here we have our filter that has that information. So this is really cool. But the fun doesn't stop there, right? Now we can share this view with others. So I can email it to pretty much anybody I want, right? Or you can copy the link and email out to people, and then you get to pick what kind of power or privilege do they have when they open that link. So they can just be a viewer, which is gonna let them see the workbook and see the comments, but they're not gonna be able to add or edit anything. You have a commenter, which is a paid feature, but as a commenter, you can view the workflow and add comments, but not be able to edit or add any data, which can be really good when you have stakeholders and folks just need to be aware, but they may have an opinion or two, and so they can interact there. Also, under the paid plan, you can give editor rights. So now this is where things start getting really interesting, because even though you're paying, I guarantee the price is not as much as paying for a Jira software license, right? But now people can interact and edit. And I'm going to show you another cool feature in just a minute that I think is going to let those editors have a lot of fun, especially when they don't need to have a Jira license. But finally, we have the owner, which basically gives you full access. I would restrict this to just a few people, but you get to pick. I'm just on the free plan, so I'm just going to click on viewer. But if you are on the paid version, you're going to be able to select some other stuff. And so you can copy the link, email it out to people, or put their email directly there. So I think that's one of the best features, right? Not only can we just create and save these views, specifically these filters for this table view, but we can share them with stakeholders and not have to break the bank. That, I think, is just one of my favorite capabilities there. Now, up next, we also have the ability to format. Now, if you've been using Jira for some time, you know how bland Jira can be. Now, they do add a color here or there everywhere, but there's not a whole lot happening inside of Jira. So let me show you what this looks like inside of Visor. So here I am in a pre-configured view. This is still a table view, but what I've done is I have essentially clicked on this formatting up here, and I have selected by status. Now I'm not very creative, right? But pretty much if you have data in it, you can start manipulating and add some formatting there. So I just went to status, and for each of my statuses that are displayed, I can click on this little format button over here and then pick a color. Now, what I really like is that you have a lot of options. In the very limited colors you can add in Jira, there's like 6 colors you can use. And so I'm really excited that there's a lot of colors here where we can do backgrounds, we can do text, right? So you can have like the full hex values of colors. So you have so many options to choose from, which is something I really would wish that Atlassian would do, because just the 6 colors that they give you are sometimes not enough. So I'm just gonna click on that. And now anything that is in the status of backlog is going to be in this teal looking colors that I accidentally clicked on. So that's the coloring, right? So now you can add it for statuses. You can do it by assignee, right? Again, so many different options that you have available here that just make looking at your data just more intuitive, right? Because in Jira, it's very overwhelming to just look at a sea of issues, right? There's nothing that attracts your eyes to anything. And so here we can save these views, save these filters, save these formats, and then of course share them just like we did in the previous section. Now, what's really cool about this whole thing though is that in real time, you can be doing all this stuff, right? I can be formatting in this particular view over here. I can give it a whole different color right here. I can also be doing filters on this side, add a filter by, like, let's just see epics, right? And in real time, we're able to do these manipulations and then just revert things when we're done, right? We can just go back over here and clear all of our filters and clear all of our formatting here. And now it's like when we had our data for the very first time. And so this is all in real time. It's just happening very easily, very intuitively. And you're just able to do all of this without having to worry about performance or without having to distract yourself from losing the context of what you're trying to do. Super easy, super intuitive. And so you can use this for like refining your backlog when you're doing your sprint planning. If you're doing PI planning, this will work out really well as well. So lots of cool things. Now, before we end this video, there's another thing that I want to show you that I've been kind of keeping a secret over here on the right-hand side. And so up here, if you look, you're going to see that we have a notes field, a level of effort field, a launch quarter. We have a due date. We have a start date. We have total hours. We have a spec document link, right? All of these are custom fields that exist within Visor. And this is very important because in Jira, you need to have a lot of permissions. You need to be a Jira admin most of the time in these company managed projects to be able to add data. And most importantly, everybody needs to have a license to be able to add and edit data inside of Jira. But here, our stakeholders, right, as long as you're on that paid version of Visor, our stakeholders can come in here and add additional auxiliary information that isn't necessarily synced back in with Jira, but just lives within the context of this Visor table view. So again, this is really, really cool. And I think it's one of these, like when you talk about keeping your team in sync and just having everybody on the same page, like a picture's worth 1,000 words, a table's view is worth 1,000,000. And so this is a really interesting, effective, yet affordable way to get your teams in sync, get everybody looking at the same data, right? Because remember, there is no value if we're duplicating data, but in this particular case, our data is synced. And so we don't have to worry about duplicating. We don't have to worry about paying for a lot of licenses because fortunately, the list view is not a premium only feature. If you remember from my last video, the advanced roadmaps capability, or aka Visor's Gantt view, that's a premium only feature over in Jira. So you're saving a lot of money just by using Visor and not having to get over to the premium version of Jira to do some of these functionalities. But my biggest selling point is you can share this, other people can come in here, and you don't have to break the bank. So that's an A+ in my book any day. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you smash that thumbs up and head over to visor.us to start using Visor today. I highly recommend it. Super intuitive. Get started in minutes, and I'll see you in the next one.